What was your expectation for the Tar Heels coming into the season?
Well, actually, my expectations weren't very high. I thought that they were a little soft. I was concerned that the interior toughness wasn't there. But I think that team really grew and shows a lot of toughness. I think Bryce Johnson really stepped up his game this year. And, the backcourt has been terrific. And now with Page kind of getting back to his old form, they're playing at the highest level they've played in a long time, and they show they have great depth. So if one guy doesn't have a good game, there's certainly some, insulation there, if you will, of other guys that can easily step up and contribute with 15 to 20 points.
It's obviously been the only number one seed left. The Tar Heels are, I think, a lot of people's minds the favorites with just 4 teams left. But you look at some of these other teams. Syracuse is one who, in a lot of people's mind, had no business being there. Villanova is another who was number one in the season at some in the nation at some point during the season, but they didn't start playing really great basketball until the tournament. Do you feel like the road is lined perfectly for them to win another championship, or is it going to be a lot more difficult than it seems?
Well, I think it's always more difficult, but I do think that they were the best team going into the tournament, and they're playing the best right now out of anybody. So, it's easy to say, hey, they should win, and they're the favorite, and I think they deserve to be the favorite. But there's a reason you play the game, and, foul trouble, all of a sudden the team goes zone, and you get tight from the outside, Syracuse being a zone team. When you're the favorite in the NCAA tournament where it's one and done, the emotions can really play a significant role in these games. If it was a best out of 7 series, I definitely would, go with Carolina, and I'm going to go with them anyway. But with one game and you're out, a lot of funny things can happen.
Are you going to make it out to Houston, by the way? You going to be there?
I am not. I'm going to watch it from the comforts of my couch.
It's not a bad way to watch a big game. I got to be honest with you, Matt. We go down there and we do work, and it's awesome, and it's great to be there because it allows us to bring it to our show daily and bring our listeners with us. But I'm with you. Like on a football Sunday, I'd much rather be on the couch than with 80,000 people because I can't hear anything.
Yeah.
I can't watch anything.
You can't watch. You don't get the replays. And it's a lot shorter walk to my refrigerator than it is to the concession stands at a big arena.
Yeah, not to mention the restroom. I mean, there's always the back end,
Well, you had to take it there. I wanted to keep this show above a certain level of class.
Oh, Matt, it's 3 years too late for that. I mean, we launched 3 years ago. Matt Doherty with his former Carolina head coach. So you're doing some scouting now, and boy, the game's changed a lot. I mean, the stretch 4, that just was not part of the basketball vernacular when you were playing. It was still in its infancy, I would imagine, in Europe. The hand-checking component to the game, the fierce protection of the rim. As a scout, compared to when you were playing, what other changes do you really see? And are they good for the game, Matt?
Well, I think they are good for the game. I really do. I think the game is exciting. It brings back a guy like Steph Curry. And I think when a kid grows up, when I was growing up, I wanted to be 6'7". I felt like I had to be 6'7". I wanted to be like Rick Barry. I wanted to be, kind of like Larry Bird. I wanted to be Michael Korn, who played at North Carolina.
Yep.
And I felt you had to be a certain size. And when you get a guy like Steph Curry, I think a lot of people can relate because they could see him and say, oh, you're not that big. He's not that strong. He's a good athlete. He's not a freak athlete. With hard work, I could become a good player. And I think that it's good for the game. I think it's exciting. The three-point line is really, it's like the home run in baseball. I think it's an exciting play. Look at the people that show up to watch Steph Curry warm up before a game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're opening gates early so fans can attend and watch him. The hand checking, I think, is good because it got too physical. It was basically, just a brawl. It wasn't a finesse game. I think that the NBA led that. I think you were actually more physical in college than you were in the NBA out on the perimeter. I think that's been good, the freedom of movement. The stretch 4, in a lot of ways, the pro games followed the college games because the college game had to stretch forward. Oh gosh, for years because we didn't have great big guys, so you turned a small forward into a power forward. And you played 4 out 1 in. We were doing that for years, I think, before the NBA, and I think it goes in cycles. People say, "Oh, no big man," but if Shaq was in the draft right now, he'd go number 1. Julia Okafor went number 2 to Philadelphia. The term we use in the draft, bigs rise in the draft. So there's always going to be a premium on big players. And if there was a Shaquille O'Neal or a Dwight Howard in the draft, they would probably go number 1, and people would adjust. When you see certain teams play, Al Jefferson, when he comes in the game for the Hornets, he's a problem because they throw it in there. Now you got to double. You're not used to doubling. You're not used to playing against the low post scorer. Now they get open shots on the perimeter. So if there's a talented big guy out there, he's gonna. Again, Tim Duncan, if he was in the draft, he'd be number 1. So, it just goes in cycles, and it's based upon the talent, and the coach is taking advantage of the strengths of their roster.
No, you talk about talent, Matt, and I'm thinking about some of the stars that are still left in this Final Four, and Buddy Hield's one that just jumps off the page because of his scoring acumen. But you're a scout now for the Pacers, and I wonder, as in that job, what are you looking for from some of these college kids? 'Cause we had this conversation right before you jumped on about Bryce Johnson, why people don't view him as so dominant as of a player as a Ben Simmons or a Buddy Hield when he seems like he's got the complete package.
Yeah, you know what? I can't talk with my role in the NBA about specific players, but I can talk in general terms.
Yeah.
And I think it's really interesting, being in the NBA and learning how to evaluate, a lot of things are analytical. I think that analytical pendulum has swung, far one way, and now it's kind of going back to the middle where, a lot of it is the eye test, but there are certain stats that really jump out. I think one is a player on draft day. If you're 23 years old on draft day, that player, I think, has never started in the NBA. That's an interesting stat to me. So age plays a factor. I think that there's so many biases. You see a kid so much, you pick them over. And if you don't see a player as much, there's a little more intrigue. So with the intrigue, you don't want to miss out on the upside, but the upside always doesn't come, So a guy like Bryce Johnson, who's had a terrific year, maybe he's hurt because he's been in college longer. The other thing is that I've learned is, okay, what's his position in the NBA? What can he do?
Yeah.
Or what's the average size of a 2-guard in the NBA? A guy like Buddy Hield is 6'4", Well, the average 2-guard in the NBA is like 6'6", So can he do what he's doing in college? Can he do it in the NBA?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things that go through your mind as a scout. The NBA is those are the best of the best. DeMar DeRozan's a 6'7" 2-guard. So okay, a guy like a 6'4" 2-guard in college, can he get a shot off against a 6'7" 2-guard in the NBA?